The drama surrounding the Cleveland Browns has reached a point where denial is no longer believable, and the silence from the top has become louder than any admission ever could. This was never just about one press conference or one evasive answer. This was about a pattern of avoidance, ego, and stubbornness that finally collided with reality the moment Shadur Sanders stepped onto the field and made it impossible to keep pretending. Kevin Stefanski had chances to get ahead of the truth. He chose not to. And now the truth is chasing him down in real time. It starts with something that should be simple: admitting a mistake. Every leader makes them. Every coach misreads a moment at some point. But what separates real leadership from fragile authority is the ability to say it out loud. Stefanski was asked directly whether it was a mistake not starting Shadur earlier, and instead of answering like a leader, he hid. He deflected. He wrapped himself in vague language about focusing on what's ahead. That response alone told everyone everything they needed to know. Because when the answer is no, you say no. When the answer is yes, but you're afraid of what it means, you dodge. Shannon Sharpe saw it immediately. The refusal wasn't about protecting a player or keeping the locker room steady. It was about protecting himself. Admitting Shadur should have started earlier would mean admitting that weeks of decisions were wrong. It would mean acknowledging that the team lost time, rhythm, and possibly games because of hesitation. And Stefanski wasn't willing to do that. Instead, he acted like the question itself was unreasonable, as if the improvement, the spark, and the calm leadership everyone could see were somehow imaginary. What makes this worse is that Shadur didn't just suddenly become ready overnight. He was ready long before his name was ever called. Even when he wasn't getting reps, even when he was buried behind another decision, his preparation never slipped. He studied. He took detailed notes. He paid attention in meetings. He showed professionalism without entitlement. Every sign a coach claims to value in a young quarterback was already there. Stefanski saw it. He just didn't want to act on it. That's the part people keep missing. This wasn't a coach waiting for development. This was a coach waiting for failure. After Shadur's first strong performance, the natural response would have been clarity. This is our guy. Instead, Stefanski hesitated again, talking about wanting to see what it would look like next week. Translation was obvious. He was hoping Shadur would stumble so he could justify going back to Dillon Gabriel. That tells you the evaluation was never neutral. It was defensive. And Shadur ruined that plan by being consistent. He didn't just flash once. He controlled games. He protected the football. He showed command of the offense and leadership in the huddle. He looked calm, not overwhelmed. He made reads, extended drives, and gave the team belief. At that point, Stefanski was trapped. He couldn't bench him without detonating the locker room. Veterans would have spoken up. Leaders would have pushed back. Everyone knew who gave them the best chance to win. That's the most damning part of this entire situation. Stefanski didn't choose Shadur. Reality forced him to. Performance forced him to. The players forced him to. And when a head coach is cornered into making the right decision instead of leading his team there, it exposes a dangerous flaw. A coach who prioritizes ego over momentum risks losing everything that actually matters. None of this is about blaming Dillon Gabriel. He didn't ask to be put in that position. He didn't draft himself. He didn't decide the depth chart. But facts still matter. Gabriel struggled. Drives stalled. Mistakes piled up. The offense looked uncertain and tight. When you put that on tape next to what Shadur did the moment he stepped in, the contrast is glaring. One quarterback looked like he was trying to survive. The other looked like he belonged. And that brings us back to the question Stefanski refuses to answer. Why wait? Why delay? Why ignore what was right in front of you? The answer becomes clearer the longer this plays out. Because admitting Shadur was ready earlier would mean admitting that the losses, the wasted reps, and the stalled growth were avoidable. It would mean accepting responsibility. And Stefanski doesn't want that weight. Shannon said it plainly. Growth requires honesty. You don't improve by pretending mistakes didn't happen. You improve by owning them. Stefanski's refusal to even say Shadur's name with conviction, to acknowledge his readiness without qualifiers, shows how deep the pride runs. He speaks about young players in general terms, never directly uplifting the one who earned it. That isn't accidental. That's insecurity. Now imagine the bigger picture. If Shadur looks this composed in his third game, what would he look like with a full season of reps? With chemistry built earlier. With defenses already adjusted to him.
With confidence installed from week 1 instead of week 8.
Every snap he missed wasn't development delayed. It was development stolen. And that theft sits squarely on the coaching staff. The Browns didn't turn a corner because of Stefanski's vision. They turned a corner despite it. Shadur didn't rise because he was given trust. He rose because he was denied it and stayed ready anyway. That's not a system success. That's a player succeeding in spite of the system. At this point, the conversation is no longer about quarterback evaluation. It's about leadership. A head coach who cannot admit error, who cannot pivot without being forced, and who risks locker room chemistry to protect his own image is not guiding a franchise forward. He's holding it back. Shadur Sanders has shown he is the future. Calm under pressure. Prepared before opportunity. Confident without arrogance. The Browns finally found their spark, but they nearly smothered it with hesitation. That's why fans are angry. Not because of one decision, but because of how long it took to correct it. So now the question shifts. If this much progress happened after weeks of delay, what could this team look like with clarity, trust, and accountability from the start? And should a franchise trying to break decades of quarterback failure really be led by someone who still can't say, "I was wrong"? If you enjoyed this breakdown, make sure to like and subscribe for more deep, no-nonsense NFL analysis. And let me know in the comments. Do you believe the Browns would have a